Hello, everybody. It's Jeff Gibby over at MetaStock. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming tonight. Can you hear me okay? Go ahead and type in yes or whatever. We're doing a little bit of an audio test. You should be able to hear me. Okay, good. Thanks, guys. All looks good. And you should be able to see a screen that says Candle Profit Systems on it. Very pretty screen. Has a ticker on there. Cool. All right, good. Let's go ahead and get started. Thanks for coming. Whoa. Shoot. Give me just a second. Looks like. Okay, good. Everybody still here? Okay, okay. Just a little bit of. It's been a week of a little bit of technical problems here and there. Anyway, it looks like I'm still here. I did kick the power cord out, but I had a laptop battery backup, so we're okay. Anyway, let's get to reading the disclaimer. Today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and the accompanying software plugins. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of the software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. So there we go. Yeah, we've had a little bit of difficulty today. I'm glad everybody made it, and it's good to go. So I want to just kind of talk a little bit. Give you I know a lot of you don't have MetaStock. Thanks for all of you that answered the question. Looks like about 30% of maybe the attendees today have MetaStock. So some of you may not be familiar with me, kind of my role, my job, that kind of stuff. So let me just try to talk a little bit about myself. And kind of give you an idea of who I am. I started working for MetaStock, I think it was 18 years ago. And I started in inside sales. It's a great company to work for. I absolutely love it. I feel I very much enjoy what I do. The first 10 or so years was working in inside sales, where we'd talk a lot about to you. If you called in, I'd be very likely somebody you'd be talking to, and it just kind of talk a lot about kind of what the software is, your goals as investors, and that was really, really fun. I enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun at it. About 10 years ago, I moved over to business development, and now I'm in charge of it. We have a pretty big distribution network around the globe. Quite a few dealers that kind of help us sell the programs overseas, and quite a few international partners. My job, so I'm in charge of the team here that does that. I'm also in charge of new partner acquisition and all of our US-based partners. And so the reason we came into contact with Steve was one day I contacted Steve, and I kind of, just kind of talked to him a little bit about our software, kind of told him a little bit about what we were looking to do, and really kind of, we struck it off. I consider him a friend now. We've been business partners for a number of years, and I just absolutely love Steve. So generally, one of the things that we do, one of the things I found is extremely valuable for us is to go in, find people that know what they're doing, and kind of build our technology to suit what they're teaching people in the marketplace. It gives us a great tool. We can market to our database. It gives them a great way of doing scanning for the patterns that they're looking for. And I really feel like it's a home run when we develop something that our actual partners actually use in their own trading, which happens a lot. And so that's kind of gives you an idea of who I am. I do a lot of calling of companies, and just, I'm in charge of making sure that we have a good business network, and it is a lot of fun, meeting people like Steve and working with him on a regular basis, and quite honestly learning a lot about the market from people that I think are a little bit smarter than me about trading the market has been actually really beneficial to my trading as well. So kind of got off on a little bit of a tangent about what I am or who I am, but hopefully that kind of gives you some background into kind of what our relationship is. So, for those of you that are not familiar with MetaStock, I know that there's quite a few of you that don't have the product yet. Just to kind of give you some background, I've left this slide up so you could read it if you wanted to. But we are a company that's been in business for a number of years. The main parts of the tool that are really helpful to people and the things that people really like, and we won't go into these except for as they pertain to the Steve Bigalow tool that we developed. But just to kind of put it in a nutshell, it's an award-winning software program. It's won every year for the last 24 years straight. People buy it because it helps them identify trading. We're going to talk a lot about finding trades and specifically finding Steve setups today. It helps them get alerts with our expert advisor. You can get real-time alerts. You can get custom feedback, like I'm going to show you a lot of custom feedback that we've written just for Steve's methodologies and how to trade Steve's methodologies. We have a patent pending forecaster module that's just pretty cool that kind of gives you a statistical view of what the market's likely to do based on what it's done in the past. We won't really be talking a lot about that, but it's a very large toolbox. It also does some testing. You can test trading ideas, and we could do hours and hours of classes today, but what I wanted to do is I really kind of wanted to focus on, there's our award that I talked about 24 years in a row. What I really wanted to, and here's where we talk a little bit about what the product is. What I really wanted to do is actually spend some time today showing off Steve's product and the work that we did with Steve. So to kind of give you a nutshell of the conversation, I call Steve, jumping back a few minutes to kind of, and I said, we've got this, what I want to do is I want to take all of your patterns, I want to code them into MetaStock, and I want to make a really cool product around what you teach people. Because I was aware of Steve, I knew who Steve was in the industry. I knew it's very, very popular, very, very big. And I was like, I want to take what you're doing and I want to help you automate it. I want to create these scans and these system tests. And so really what I want to do today is spend a few minutes just talking about how MetaStock interfaces with the Steve Bigalow product. And hopefully you like it as much as I do. It's been a great, the software, MetaStock's won the Reader's Choice Award 25 years in a row. And actually Bigalow was actually a member of the honorable mention for that price cut, for the add-on as well, 1 or 2 times now. So it's a great product. People really like it. So we did sit down with Steve. He spent a lot of time with us. We actually kind of sat down and created a product. I'm going to go into a lot of detail. I'm going to show you in MetaStock how it works and how different things work in it. If we have questions as we go, feel free to ask. I don't. My goal today is to kind of give you a real thorough understanding of the CPS product and how it works, how it can help you as a trader, and maybe even get you excited enough about it to purchase the product. It's it does come with a money-back guarantee. So, and it's been a very, very popular product in our catalog. So we're going to go through that. So we sat down with Steve. I don't have any of Steve's jokes. I'd have them all memorized, but these are the patterns that we identified in the software program. And when I say identified, I'm going to show you in detail really more what that means on charts and stuff like that. But as identified, that means we can scan for them using a market scan, and we can display them on a chart, and we can tell you what they mean and how Steve would recommend that you trade with them. So let's just dive into it. We'll do it as we go, so to speak. Let's get into the software here. Okay, and I just ran this scan. We'll come back to the scanning in a second. I just ran this scan. It took a couple minutes to complete as well, and I want to come back into it. I wanted to start actually in the software to show you exactly what it's working and how it's working. First of all, I'm going to actually show you how to open up the charts and how to kind of get them to be Steve's view. It's not very hard. One of the things that we like to do is make his stuff things easy to do in MetaStock. So for example, I'm going to open up that same chart. what I want to do is I want to put all of his indicators, his moving averages, his stochastics on the chart, and I want to do it real quick. And I'm even going to do what we call an expert advisor at the same time. So the way you're going to do that is I'm just going to type in the symbol I want to look at right here in the instrument list. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say apply a template, and I'm going to go down to CPS. Bigalow CPS. So CPS stands for Candle Profit Systems. There's two views that you can pick from. One is for if you want to trade futures, and one's if you want to do chart. The difference is the moving averages that are applied. So just open up the chart, just type it in right here. We're going to do a daily chart. Okay, we're going to do Apple, and we're going to use the CPS Bigalow chart view. And that quickly, I can go ahead and open up a chart of Apple. It's going to show us all of the moving averages Steve uses, and it's going to annotate on any of the patterns that we see. So I had that list of the 21 or 22 different patterns that are identified in the exploration. And if we scroll out on this chart, I'm just going to scroll out just by clicking on this. We can kind of see where they have come in historically. So here we had a bit of a doji on the top. It's kind of come down a little bit from there. Had a bull kicker. Here's a nice left-right bearish combo. We also do the left-right bullish combos. Those are two of my favorite patterns, some that I scan for regularly. You've got your bull kicker that happened here. And even just eyeballing this chart, there's a couple things that you'll notice. Not every signal is a knock it out of the park signal. They're never going to be. But a lot of them look really, really good, especially if you kind of look back here where we had kind of this bull kicker and just three powerful bullish fitters, a scoop right here at the bottom. So this is what we're identifying. And then, of course, you'd want to utilize Steve's stop losses and kind of his money management rules to kind of get you out of those trades that are not winning. Okay. The other thing, you'll notice that these are all kind of identified. We can set up alerts, so if we have a chart open of Apple and we want to know if one of the patterns happens, we can actually set up an alert so it'll fire off an alert when that happens. The other thing that we can do is we can also set up an email, and as long as you have an email client installed, it can fire you an email and send you an email that maybe there's a doji at the top or one of the patterns on the chart. So in addition to kind of identifying these all on the chart for you, the other thing that we've done is we've gone through what Steve actually teaches, and what we've done is we've embedded advice in terms of what you should do with it. And to look at that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the commentary here. So go to View Expert Commentary. Yeah, you'll notice, because I'm going to point it out to you, but you'll notice as soon as I do that, there's a little bit of an arrow that forms right here. Okay, and that just tells me that this commentary references this bar. This is the bar that we're looking at right now. Okay, and none of the patterns actually showed up today. So on a day where there's no patterns, it's not going to tell you much. It's going to tell you that there's a Steve Bigalow. This is his system. Going to give you some background on him and some links on him, but it's not really going to give you any advice on what you should do with the pattern, because nothing happened today. Okay, but if I can go back and I can actually force this back a little bit, and let's say that we came in and maybe we ran the scan and we found Apple had a left-right bearish combo on a specific day. I can actually kind of move that commentary over, and it'll tell us exactly what kind of advice that we would have gotten on, in this case, 1217 for Apple. It's going to tell us a left-right combo. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you. A left-right combo bearish happened. This is a doji followed by a bearish engulfing signal. Tells us how we can take advantage of this. And this is built for every one of the 21, 22 patterns that we've got built into the software. So in this particular case, it's telling us a left-right combo bearish has happened. If you're interested in taking advantage of this powerful signal, you should consider a short position. With prices in an obvious, oops, it updated a little bit, uptrend, the stochastics preferably overbought, so it's telling you what to look for. You want to see prices in an obvious uptrend. You want to see stochastics preferably in the overbought area, but it's not necessarily. You'll spot the doji or spinning top has immediately followed by a bearish engulfing signal. Selling continues to keep prices below the bearish engulfing signal on the next day, setting up a strong scenario for a short position. You should look to exit trading if it there's a close more than halfway up the body of this engulfing signal. So if we were looking at this, it's already telling us, okay, we're looking for this to happen in a bit of an uptrend. I don't see that on the chart. You're looking for stochastics to be preferably overbought. They're close, but they're not quite. We can enter into this position. If we do, what we would want to do is we put a stop loss halfway up this trade. So we'd go right about here as eyeballing it. That's where our stop loss would be for our initial stop loss, and it worked out to be a really, really good trade. The nice thing about this is I can actually do this for any of the patterns. So we just recently had this bullish kicker, which was not followed up on, but I can come up over here to the doji at the top, and it's going to give me the exact same information about that doji on the top pattern. Giving you this information, it's giving you the specific criteria. The reason we put the specific criteria that we're looking for in the alerts is because a lot of what Steve looks for is specifically a little bit more subjective, like J-hook patterns, for example, or rounding tops and rounding bottoms. Those type of patterns are very easy to see visually, but they're very tricky to code. And they're a little bit subjective. So the reason we put specific criteria on here is we wanted to let you know what we were looking for that identified this pattern, particularly if it's like a rounded top or a rounded bottom pattern. So you could say, okay, well, this kind of doesn't look like a rounded top or a rounded bottom to me. Maybe I want to look at a different opportunity in the marketplace. And the nice thing about the software, when we get into scanning, I'm going to show you how to kind of get a big old list of these so that you can then focus on just the ones that have the opportunities. Okay. Down here we've got enhancements. Inevitably, when you run a scan, you're going to have more than one that come back. Like you'll have Apple and you'll have Google and you'll have maybe 15 or 20 different stocks that you can actually evaluate. And so how do you rate the dojis at the top against them to find the best one? Well, in this case, what would enhance this signal further is the further the doji occurs below the 8 exponential moving average or the T line, the higher the probability that the reversal has occurred. The other thing that actually enhances this signal is if the doji gap down below the T line or closes below the T line, the higher the probability of the downtrend is. So what we're trying to do is, number one, we're trying to identify the patterns on the chart for you. We're also trying to give you succinct yet very specific advice about all of those patterns to give you an idea of which ones you should be looking at, how you would want to consider structuring that stop loss out, how you might consider actually picking one out of the 10 or 12 that you like. So, Richard asked a question, does this work with Thinkorswim? Well, you can use Thinkorswim as a brokerage. I actually do. They got me my tax information yesterday, filed my taxes with it. It works in MetaStock, though. So MetaStock is the scanning and the engine that will actually do the driving of all of this for you. So this is the MetaStock engine. The commentary is the MetaStock engine. The alert system is the MetaStock system, and we wrote it specifically for MetaStock. Thinkorswim's a great platform. It's a great application. A lot of people come to MetaStock because it offers really good scanning tools, really good decision support tools. We're not a brokerage, so you don't have to fund an account with us. And MetaStock's actually really, really cheap if it's even just a little bit helpful for you. The cost of MetaStock is very well worth it. And I'll get into that in a little bit more. I appreciate your question, Richard. It is built for MetaStock. Trey says, how come you don't ever lose in the market? I do. Sometimes I do lose. I think all traders lose. This year, it seems like I'm losing a little bit more than I usually do, but every trader loses, and I definitely lose. Oh, how come we don't ever lose the awards? Because we have such an avid, I don't know, because we're lucky, I guess. The thing is it is a Reader's Choice Award. I thought you meant, how come I don't ever lose when I trade? I definitely do lose money sometimes trading, sometimes more often than others. But the reason I think that we win, it's a Reader's Choice Award. So it's not really the editor saying, oh, okay, well, MetaStock spends X amount of dollars with this every year, and we love them. It's actually readers that are voting in. It's a very well-established platform, And I think that's a big part of it. It's also an extremely useful platform. And I can't tell you why we don't lose, but we haven't lost since before I started working here. We've always won best software in our price category. So as to why we don't ever lose, that's a question that I don't really care to answer. I don't know why. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how scanning works, because scanning is a really big part of why people pick up MetaStock. It offers full market scanning. There are a lot of scannings that you can do in MetaStock, but again, what I want to do is I want to spend maybe half an hour, maybe 45 minutes actually talking about how scanning works with the candle profit systems. Because I'm going to give you MetaStock for free as a trial with CPS. So, and I want you to be able to use it. So I'm going to basically focus on that. The other thing is if you know how to run a scan, you know how to run all scans. It's not something that's really too tough or too difficult to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on we started on the chart page. I typed in an instrument. We opened up Bigalow. Now we're going to talk a little bit about scanning. Okay. I do want you to notice, we're not going to cover these tools at all, but I want you to know that they're in MetaStock and they're something that's very cool. So I'm going to talk just briefly about them, very high level. We do have a system tester. The system tester does allow you to go in and perform what-if scenarios. What if I bought when MACD crossed? What if I sold when this happened? You'll notice there's a lot of systems that are actually built into MetaStock. There's about 35 or 40. And it allows you to go back using Thomson Reuters data back to 1980 and test different trading ideas. And it offers the ability, if you're familiar with system testing, it offers the ability to actually go in and test a whole set of ideas against a whole huge host of markets. Really get an idea of how well something works in any time frame against any type of stock or instrument or ETF, and focus on what works. And we have classes that are available on that. Part of what we're going to give you is training on how to use that. It's a little bit beyond what I want to talk about, but I want you to understand that it's there. We also have our patent pending forecaster system, and it's actually really cool. I use it all the time. What it basically does a lot of statistical analysis to do some probability maps for you. So those are what we consider our power tools: the scanner, the system tester, and the forecaster, and of course charting. The expert advisor is a pretty powerful tool as well. What I'm going to do is we're going to focus again down on scanning. So I just click on this Explore button. It has binoculars here. And here I've got a list of scans that are available. We've got the Doji Dynamite. We've got the J-hook patterns. We've got the power signals and the price patterns. So these are broken up depending on the type of signals that you want to find. And if I hover over it, you'll notice if I hover over that for a minute, it's actually going to show me, okay, this exploration is going to go through whatever you select and find all the doji is at the top, the doji's best friend, which, by the way, is one of my favorite signals, the left-right, bullish and bearish in the series of doji. So you could scan for that just by clicking there. You can scan for all of these. The J-hooks will look for your fry pan bottoms and your fry pan bottoms with the J-hook. The power signals are going to look for, let's hover over it again, your bearish kickers, your bearish flutter kickers, and then your price patterns is actually the one I just ran. Okay, and that's basically going to do your fry pan, your bullish belt holds, your bearish belt holds. So it gives you a little bit of indication of what that is coming through. What you'll do is you'll check mark the scans that you want to run. You can run all 4 of them if you want to. And then down here, there's a big list of instruments. We get all our data from Reuters. Okay, and they actually cover 381,689 stocks. Reuters is pretty proud of their data, and they should be. They have about 95% of the global market cap. We're focused a little bit on North America, but you'll notice that we've got listings for Asia, we've got Europe, Middle East, and Africa. We've got North America, we've got equities in South America, we've got futures, we've got index constituents. I mean, we've got just about everything that you could ever want. And if we don't have it, you probably don't want to be trading it because it's not going to have any type of liquidity either. There are a pair of explorations that we call pre-filter explorations. I'm not working on my main computer, but I didn't install. But it basically goes in and finds stocks that meet Steve's price and overbought, oversold requirements, and they're just a pre-filter scan. So those are things that don't come as part of the package, but they're included for free if you buy it as a result of the webinar. So in any case, what you're going to do is you're just going to select the scans you want to run. Okay, you're going to come down here, and your list is going to look like this initially. And what you're going to do is you just click on Public Equities, Public. Okay, you can come down into Equities North America, and this, just by check marking here, I can go through all 4,362 optionable stocks. To run Steve scans on a pretty good internet connection, it takes about 2 or 3 minutes is about how long it took me to run them. You can also do ETFs. Like, so for example, if you're an ETF trader, we have a list of all those ETFs that are available. There's about 1,800 of them, and you can scan them just like that. Okay. Down here, if you kind of are more interested in index constituents, for example, maybe you want to make sure it's on the S&P 500 so that you know that it's a very well capitalized stock. You can come in here and just select the S&P 500 and it'll run through that scan for you. So there's a couple of different ways to run it. The way I ran this scan was on the optionable stocks, and I'm not going to run it now because it takes a couple minutes. I don't like to hum Jeopardy. I want to keep things moving for you, but it only took a couple minutes. And it went through 4,362 stocks just to outline those ones that had different patterns for us. And so let me show you what the report looks like. I'll just go ahead and open that up. Anne says, is the Russell 2000 included in the data? It is. They're both the index and the index constituent list. So if you wanted to scan through the Russell 2000, that would be an option that's available, and you could just say, I want to scan all 2,000 stocks in the Russell 2000, and it is there. Okay. What is the Doji Dynamite pattern? Tim, that's a good question that I'm not prepared to answer. I don't know. It's not one of the ones that I use too much. We could go in, and I think I will do this for you after I get done showing the scan reports, and we can find a Doji Dynamite possibly. Oh, the Doji Dynamite is what we called, sorry, I do know. Basically, we call Doji Dynamite anything that's either the Doji at the top, the Doji Best Friend, the left-right bullish, the left-right bearish, and your series of Doji bullish or bearish. That's, for some reason, what we decided to call that category of explorations. You're welcome, Tim. I'm glad I actually got to the answer you were looking for. So, okay. Here we go. Let's go ahead and get back into this report. Okay. So this is pretty much a report. This is what you're going to see. If you're looking for one of these specifically, all of these had one of these price patterns. Okay. So if we wanted to, we could save this list and just start looking through it. I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. If we wanted to, for example, see the ones that had a fry pan, if I just sort by this fry pan column, Chipotle Mexican Grill, Cow Mein, and this ABM INTS had a fry pan pattern. This would be the bullish belt hold. Again, if I just wanted to sort all the ones to the top, I can see which ones have a bullish belt hold, bearish belt hold, the dumpling top, the cradle, etc., etc., etc. So any of these that actually, these are all going to have one of these price patterns. Okay, and if there's a particular pattern that you're going to be looking for, like you like fry pans, personally I like the Doji Best Friends, and I like the fry pans. So if you just want to look at, just like let's say the fry pans, there's 3 right there today. So instead of looking at 4,300 and something stocks, we can look at just these 3. I'm actually kind of interested to look at Chipotle Mexican Grill because it should be sold off. They had all of that salmonella stuff. It might be a good time to buy. Let's take a look at that one. If I want to, I can actually kind of highlight the stock. I know there's a fry pan today for it. I can just click on Open Chart. The other thing I can do is if I just wanted to save this list so I can go and scroll through them, I'm going to go ahead and save this list. It's going to pop up a live dialog box. You're going to see all of my Bigs, BFF, you're going to see a lot of Bigs lists in here. But I can come in here And what I'll do is when I'm saving a list, like this one I did a best friend scan on 1024. That's usually the way I save my list. I'll come in here and I'll say Bigs, and this is the CP price pattern, and I'll put a date on it so I know exactly what date that came in, so 2-11, 2016. I create that as, I don't need to put it, well, actually let's put a year on there. I'll go ahead and click on Create. That makes that list for me. I go ahead and click on OK. And now what I can do is come back in here, close this down. I can go to the chart section. And what I can say is, okay, that list that I just scanned for, where I have to find the one now. Right here, there's 29 stocks. So out of the 4,300 or whatever, there's 29 that actually had a pattern today. Now what I want to do is I want to be able to look at those, identify which ones that I'm actually more interested in. So what I'll do is I'll select this first one. Again, I'm going to just leave this where it was. Look, it remembered my setting. I don't have to set that again. If this is how I'm using it, it's going to remember that. If I run the same scan every day, it's going to remember that too. Okay, go ahead and open up the chart. Okay, it's just so easy to use. It's going to go ahead and load with the same view I was looking at last time. For some reason, this didn't find, okay, it's a bad example. That one didn't find the pattern we were looking for. Maybe I opened it up from the wrong list. Let me jump to CMG. It should have scans for all the patterns that we scanned for, and we should have something on Chipotle Mexican Grill. Let me go back in here and see how I ran this thing. I did something wrong. See, it's my fault. I did the scan. When I ran the scan, I just want to bring your attention right here where it says exchange date and time. By default, this is checked right here, okay? And it just scans for current day. Because I was doing some testing, I had to change this to look for stocks that actually had 1/16/2016. So I wasn't scanning for the current day. And that's why we didn't have patterns on the current day, which makes sense, right? But by default, this is going to be checked. I'm going to go ahead and actually what we'll do is we'll run a smaller scan instead of doing all the optionable stocks. What I'm going to do is I do want to show you results that actually work. So let's come in here. We'll go into you'll notice we do have sector and industry groups. That's not where I meant to go. We'll come back into the index constituents. Instead of, I'm going to do just the S&P 500 real quick. We'll start the scan. It'll go through it. You'll see this. Oh, I don't want to run all 4 of them though. Let me cancel this. We'll go ahead and close this. Let's just run one of the scans. Again, I just want it to go fast. We'll run the scan. It's going to go through 500 securities real quick. It takes a second to initialize, and it does take a little bit longer when I'm broadcasting it, but it's going to go through and identify which ones have a current buy or sell signal for that particular day. I know. I tell you, Trey, this week, technology has not been my friend. I mean, GoTo has had a few issues, but GoTo is usually really, really good. So we all have our moments, right? But shame on me. I should have had the date set correctly. In any case, one of the things that's really nice about this thing is, again, we're rejecting 98% of the stuff that doesn't have an opportunity to focus on the 1.5% of stuff that does have an opportunity. And that's really why people buy MetaStock, because it helps them save time and money. And I would make the argument that not everybody is going to go through all 500 stocks of the S&P every day. This gives you a good way to go through and identify the stocks that actually have those opportunities, saves you a whole lot of time, and helps you understand the opportunities as you're getting to know them. So it's almost done, but it's one of the things I absolutely love about MetaStock. Here we go. Now, stocks that actually had a opportunity today out of the S&P 500, Cisco. Now, I could save that list again. I'm not going to do that. I showed that. I'm just going to open the chart and maybe apply the template. So we'll open up Cisco, and there's our book. Actually, that doesn't look bad to me. I think I might have found something that I might be interested in personally. Okay, so we got a left-right bullish kicker kind of out of this sideways pattern. Again, it's going to give us the specific criteria that it's looking for. The signal is going to tell us how we should look at it. Your exit strategy should be swift upon any trading below the open of the previous day's candle body. So it's telling us how to put our stop loss in there. And we're going to have a few of them. Not only was this a bullish kicker, but you'll notice we have a fry pan bottom. Here's our fry pan bottom. So this has quite a few different patterns. Now, it's not a recommendation to buy or sell exchange traded instruments, but this is something that actually looks personally interesting to me. I might come back to this tomorrow and see where it opens. But in any case, that's how it works. And you can kind of see how, and again, everything doesn't work out very good. You had a T-line crunch right here, and it didn't work out. But again, you have a stop loss strategy in place. And I just love the way Steve looks at the marketplace. What does the blue... Okay, good question, Marilyn. What does the candle coloration mean? Blue means there's just a pattern today. Okay, so anytime there's a pattern, it's going to be blue. That just kind of to make it pop out a little bit. Red and green, basically, red and green match with the traditional candlesticks definitions, meaning if you have a red candle, the open is here and the close is down here. In other words, the close is below the open. If you have a green candle, it's also a hollow candle. You'll notice we actually paint them properly. We paint them hollow. But if you have a hollow candle, that means it's going to be highlighted in green, and that means the open was below the close, so it opened lower than it closed. And blue just means that there's a signal that day. And we can tell this is a green bar because it's hollow. So in addition to being a signal day, which is identified by the blue coloration, it's also hollow or green. Did that answer your question? All right, cool. Very cool. Anyway, very proud of this product. Steve and I worked on like this with my programmer. Remember all the meetings where we were looking at doji patterns, and Steve's like, "It's just not quite right yet, William." And we'd go in there and we'd identify. Okay, well, he'd go in there, and my programmer's so good, but he'd identify what wasn't right, and it probably took us the better part of a year just to get everything tweaked out so that it met something that we were happy with. I'm very proud of it. We went in and we took it. It's been a hugely successful product, number one, which we like. Kind of tells me we did the right thing. But number two, it actually also got that honorable mention in Stocks and Commodities last year, and I believe this year. I'd have to go look at the awards again, but it's been well received. People love it. It's a great little product. To just recap what it's got the floor exploration, so it's going to give you the Doji Dynamites, your J hooks, all those 21 patterns. I think I have those slides identified here. These are the patterns that we're looking for. So these are what you can scan for as part of the product. And these are the things you can get those alerts on. These are the things that you can get drawn on the chart for you. These are the things that you can get those really, what I feel are good definitions and explanations on as well. So that's what's in there. The product, I have to be careful because a lot of times with a product this cool, you might expect to pay some exorbitant monthly fee every month or whatever. This we sell at a one-time price. It's $400. It's super cheap, $3.99. And as part of the webinar, the promotion that we're doing on it, $2.99. Again, it's a one-time cost. The other thing that we do is it's a one-time, or it's a money-back guarantee. So it's a pretty good risk-reward ratio. If you like it and it helps you and you make more money with it, you're going to keep it. I wish I could get risk-reward like that on my trades. Be really helpful. If you don't have MetaStock, I know a lot of you people said you don't have MetaStock. It includes 1 month of access to MetaStock. MetaStock's a subscription-based product or a purchase-based product. It starts at $59 a month, and we'll give you a free month of that to evaluate it as well. I think I have the pricing for MetaStock here in a slide later, but it's $59 a month for our basically the DC version, which updates hourly, and then we have a full-blown real-time. Again, it's a 30-day money-back guarantee. One of the things that we also include, we want you, make no mistake about it, we want you to keep MetaStock and Candle Profit System. So as part of that package, what we're going to do is we're going to include training. We're going to include training that we normally sell on our website. We actually don't ever sell it. We always give it away, but we put a retail price on it of $99. But it walks you through how to run the scanning. It shows you how to attach the expert advisor. It shows you how to use all of the parts of the program to a very good degree. It's a 4 or 5 hour class that comes with a little PDF workbook, and it's called Unleash the Power of MetaStock. You can find it on our website and buy it for $99, but we'll make sure to include that for you so you know how to use the software. Again, everything comes with a money-back guarantee, so if you don't like it, you can cancel your subscription, and we'll just basically give you a refund. And you can take advantage of that at metastock.com/candlestickforum-A. You can also give us a call at 800, and we do have reps here right now because they will be here for about 19 minutes. And you can call them at 800-882-3040. I'm going to come back to the questions. I know a few of you are asking some questions, but give it a shot. It's a great little product. I personally wouldn't trade without it. I use it all the time. 30-day money-back guarantee to see if you like it. And super cheap price, especially if it helps, and only worth it, but especially worth it if it helps you make money. Can I put the... Lewis says, if I have MetaStock already, well, thank you for using MetaStock. Yes, you still get the special price. You just go up to either the website, which I'm going to type in the chat box for you. And I'm going to take a little bit of extra time to make sure that I type it in correctly. Hopefully that works. So what you'll do on this page, I'm going to show you kind of the process here. On this page, and you can kind of watch me giving a little bit of like a 10-minute demo of how this works. You can watch it if you want. It's not quite as detailed as what I just did, but here you can actually order Steve Bigalow, so you can go ahead and do that. Again, then you need MetaStock. Click on this box to, or either box to get either the real-time or the end-of-day subscription, and it'll kind of go through and help you set everything up. Or just call in 800-882-3040 right here. That phone number, that you can ask any questions that you've got. Talk to one of our sales guys. They're very, very good and can answer really a lot of questions. Maybe you're looking for something, you like what you saw today, but you're looking to see if it can do this also. Give us a call. We'll walk you through it. What's the difference? Patrick says, what is the difference between RT and DC? And that's a fantastic question, Patrick. And RT stands for real-time. It updates real-time during the market. DC is it stands for daily charts. It only basically it updates about once an hour with about a 15-minute delay. Okay, so that's a difference. Real-time or daily charts. Richard, I'm sorry you were late. I did record this. I'm going to go ahead and convert it, and I should have it available and emailed out to everybody that registered tonight in the morning. How long is the special good for? I'm going to say that the special is. I don't want to put a deadline on there of too far away. I want you to do it. I think you're going to like it. So I'm going to say it's good through the end of next week. I should say tomorrow, but because I know how a lot of people function. I function the same way. I really like it. I want to buy it later, and I just don't ever buy it. So, but I'm going to still, next Friday. So, RT, Laura, that's a great question. If you do nothing with real-time, the MetaStock program will be $199 minimum after your first month for real-time. But I wouldn't recommend you do that. In fact, to be honest, to be really frank about it, with either of these options, this $59 or this $250, $199 to $250 option, I would recommend you do that for 30 days to try it out. If you decide you like it, you can actually do a one-time purchase of either of those products and bring down your ongoing data fees that you pay to Reuters quite significantly. So the reason I do the trial is so I can let you try it for free. If you like it, there's better, smarter ways to get it than staying on the subscription, which I would recommend that you talk about. MetaStock, for example, with daily charts, if you like MetaStock daily charts, the one-time cost on that's like $449. It's super cheap. And that brings your cost. You still do pay a data cost, but it's only like $20 a month. So it really brings that down. Does this work on commodities and futures and Forex and Indian stocks and London stocks and just about anything you want to trade? We get all of our data from Reuters. Reuters, obviously, if you're not familiar with Reuters, they're a huge company. They sell their data to banks mostly. We're the only retail shop that sells their news and their data. And we don't charge nearly what they do for it, but it's the same quality of data and has just about everything you're interested in, including commodities, futures, stocks, whatever you want. In fact, if you're doing futures, what you'll want to do is you'll want to use the futures chart view as your template. We have a special template because Steve uses different averages and different indicators and different settings for futures chart. So in that particular case, you'll use the futures template, and it's very much designed for futures. Okay. Ivory asked another question: how many years does the data go back? It depends on the data time frame that you're looking at. For example, daily goes back about to 1980. On futures, a lot of the contracts go back into the 70s. The intraday stuff doesn't go back as far because it's intraday. It goes back a few years. For those type of questions, I probably refer you to our sales guys so that they can find out exactly what you're trading and tell you exactly how far it's going to go back. Awesome. Well, that looks like the end of the questions. I want to thank everybody for coming today. Go ahead and pick up that CPS. It's a trial. You can actually see if you like it. If you don't like it, well, you just spend a little bit of time, but it's awesome. I love it. Futures data is included with that. It does not cost more for futures data. It's actually included in the prices that were listed. Forex also is included as well, in case that question comes up. It is a regional package, so when you do set up, you say, I'm interested in North America, or I'm interested in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, or I'm interested in Asia Pacific. And that will include Forex, it will include futures, and it will include stocks. So it's all inclusive of all of that data that's in that region, as well as Forex. All right, guys. Thanks for coming today. Really appreciate it. Good turnout. I do have a bunch more slides, actually. I thought I had my email address on here. If you guys have questions for me, feel free to reach out to me. And my email address is just my first name dot my last name at metastock.com. So feel free to reach out to me if you have specific questions for me. And thanks for coming today. Appreciate your time.